Hi chess fans, welcome to Better Moves. In this position, white is considering knight takes e5. What's wrong with this idea and what might be a better move? Okay, let's have a look what's going on. The point is that a resource that white has in this position is the pin on the king. So this knight here is at the moment pinned, it cannot move. So the pressure point is this knight. And now the question is, how can we increase pressure on this knight? White was considering simply taking this knight that is pinned, and this simply takes away all the pressure, because after bishop takes, suddenly these bishops become very active, and if any pieces are exchanged, the king is already in the middle of the board, in the center of the board where it's stronger, and also these rooks can exchange themselves and take some pressure off. So white has just released a lot of pressure in the position. A better move would have been rook c3. Now this rook here is mobile, because before the rook on c1, if this rook ever moved to, for example, take this knight or move somewhere else, then this rook would have actually been pinning this knight, because this rook is defending the rook on c1. So on c3 this rook is safe and defended by the pawn on b2, and white can now plan in the next move to move the knight to f3 and put pressure and increase pressure on the weak piece in black's camp. So for example, if black plays h5, white can play knight f3, increase the pressure on the weak spot in black's position, and after knight f5, for example, to develop the pieces, even play bishop d4 and continue increasing the pressure, and white will at least win a pawn. If in this position here, after rook c3, black tries to move the king out of the pin, that never works, because the knight can simply win the bishop, obviously. So that's why this pin is stable. Black cannot simply eliminate the pin by moving the king away. And if black tries to solve his problems tactically, at this position we still have the resource knight takes. And now after bishop takes, we can take the bishop here on b5, and the resulting position is different in a way that black has these weaknesses here, and this bishop here actually can be attacked, and again there's a pin-like situation that will allow white to win a pawn. So what can we learn from this position? Don't exchange your piece if you have a pin. Keep the pressure up, and also identify the pressure point in the position and see how you can build up pressure rather than releasing it. So if you see this as the pressure point, think about how can I build up pressure on that point rather than simply releasing the pressure by taking it away. Okay, let's have a look at the next position. In this position, black to move was considering knight e5 to c6. What might be the problem with this move? And what might be a better move in this position? Okay, what's going on in this position? White has 5 pawns and a double pawn, and black has 6 pawns. So black is material up, but white also has the bishop pair, and the black's king is still in the center. So black was considering playing knight c6, but this allows a very strong resource to white, the move c4. c4 levers up the center. It threatens to take here on d5. It also threatens to exchange black's attacking piece, which black could use to attack the king, which is a little bit open. And in this position, black has the 2 knights, and as the position opens, the knights will lose value, whereas the bishops and the rooks who are in the center will win value. If the position gets opened, the king will also be more weak in the center. So for all of these reasons, in this position here, c4 is a threat that white has in this position, which does all what we have talked about before. So if black moves the knight to c6, the idea maybe was to consolidate his position and, you know, to say I'm material up, so now I'm going to move this knight away from the square where it can potentially be attacked. But after knight c6 and c4, black basically has to exchange queens here, because if he, for example, plays rook to f8, bringing the rook to the open square, white in turn will take the queen, and after knight takes, c takes, knight takes, we will now see how powerful the bishop pair can be against 2 knights, because white simply moves the bishop. The bishops are very much in the center here, attacking the knight. Black has to react, and then the next bishop can attack the weakness on e6, so the bishop pair is really good to attacking weaknesses like this and always keeping the initiative, forcing black to react. And in this position here, you can see that all of white's pieces are well coordinated and attacking, and the king is in the center. So this cannot be good. And if black would castle longside here, as an alternative to rook f8, white also takes the queen, and after knight takes, white even wins a piece, so long castle is not possible. So going back to the original position, if the knight moves back, c4, black has to exchange queens, and then you can see that in this position here, c4 is very strong, because black has this weakness here on e6 and would love to push this pawn forward, but because of the c4 pawn, black will never be really able to do that. And taking here to remove this simply activates again the bishop pair and the rooks with the king still in the center. So all of this is really dangerous for black. Again here, if black tries to get the king out of the center to castle, bishop b6 attacks the rook, rook d7, and then bringing the rook to the center, increasing pressure on both of these center pawns. White's pieces are simply so good in combination with c4, and white will get a very strong attack here. So we looked at a few of these variations, but really the main point is that knight 5 to c6 allows c4, and you know, we can calculate all these variations, but they really come down to the position opening up, and then the rooks and the bishops against the weak king in the center, and the 2 knights become very strong. Okay, so what would be a better move? Black was considering this move. What might be a better move? A better move might have been rook c8, controlling the square in front of the c3 pawn, stopping it from advancing. And now if white attacks the knight, this is what we have been afraid of. We wanted to move the knight away because potentially it could be attacked here. So white attacks the knight and also protects the pawn on c3 that is attacked by the rook. Now we can bring in the other knight, moving the knights in a little bit more active positions, and if now c4, we can happily exchange the queens, because we can take one strong bishop out of the position and win another pawn, and black is winning here. In this position here, it's not so easy to attack these pawns. The rook and the bishop don't coordinate so well. The knight is in a safe and active position, can only be chased away here if the bishop exchanges against the knight, and then we have a one rook ending. And the king now maybe is even strong because a lot of pieces have been exchanged, and it's good that it's already in the center, whereas this king here has to, well, this square is also not available. This king has to really, it will take some time until it becomes active. Okay, so what can we learn from this position? Number one, watch out for your opponent's opportunities. Black is material up, the king is open, but white, the opponent, has a strong opportunity here. So even if you material up, watch out for your opponent's opportunities. Second, bishops like open positions. So c4 opens the positions and bishops love this, whereas knights hate it. And maybe the third thing that we can learn, past double pawns are weakness, but they love to advance. So if you think about double pawns, always consider as a candidate move for yourself or for the opponent the opportunity of pushing the pawn forward, because it allows oftentimes to attack and use the pawn and then still have another pawn. White in this position, for example, can leave the pawn here to protect the king a little bit on this diagonal, and use the other one to attack. And as they move forward, they allow yourself also to get rid of this weakness potentially, because if this pawn exchanges itself, the white is getting rid of this weakness. So watch out for your opponent's opportunities, even if you material up. Bishops like open positions, and a double pawn wants to move forward, so it's not weak. Okay, let's move on to the next position. In this position, white to move, it's considering knight to d5. What's going on in this position, and why might this move not be a good idea, and what might be a better idea? Okay, what's going on in this position? White has two rooks, whereas black's one rook, so white is an exchange up. On the other hand, black has one extra pawn. Black has 7 pawns, white has 6 pawns, and black also has the bishop pair. A little bit of a more subtle feature in this position is that there are no open files for these rooks. Nominally, these rooks are stronger than any light pieces, but they don't have any open files at the moment. And one open file is blocked by this d6 pawn, which is very well defended. And the other one is blocked by this knight. This knight is actually very strong because it is on a protected outpost. And to kick the knight away, we would have to do it with this pawn. But this pawn cannot move forward so easily because the pawn on a5 is blocking the pawn. So we have to, do a few moves to do that. And up until then, this knight is really strong, because it controls some squares, but also because it blocks the activity of these rooks. Now, white was considering knight to d5, and let's have a look at this. It looks like a good move because it brings the knight to a central square. It maybe opens up this file a little bit more, because before the knight was blocking this file. But actually, what it does, it's a big positional mistake, because what it allows black is to exchange this bishop for this knight. And so what has happened now? Some pieces got exchanged, but the big thing that has happened now is that this knight on c5 cannot be attacked by any piece anymore. The pawns have to move forward, and that's a lot of work to bring them there. If a rook takes the knight, then white would give up an exchange, white would give up an material to remove this knight, and there is no dark squared bishop and no knight anymore in the position that would allow to attack this knight. So this knight is here to stay, and as a consequence, this file will be closed and these rooks will be less active. And so black ends up with an extra pawn, a very strong knight that blocks the activities of the rooks, and also a monster bishop. This bishop has a lot of active squares. Even though black has a few pawns on the dark squares, this dark squared bishop is very strong as well. So white is still better here because he's material up, but the task of winning this game now became a lot harder. So alternatively, what can white do? So this is a strong piece, and the problem with this move is that you would exchange a piece that can exchange itself against the knight. So a much better move, very straightforwardly, is knight to a4, challenging this strong piece. And the point is that if knight takes, b takes a, this maybe looks ugly, and maybe that's why white didn't want to play, because now these 2 pawns here look pretty weak. But on the other hand, these rooks now have an open file to work on, and white is material up because white is an exchange up, but only as so far as these rooks can be activated, and they are activated now. At the same time, black is simply threatening to take on b7, so black is also having the initiative. And for example, if black tried to save this pawn, the white rook invades, and now 2 pawns are attacked, and if black, for example, tries to protect this pawn, white actually wins a pawn. So in essence, this is not such a big problem because white simply wins a pawn tactically. But more importantly, rather than exchanging this knight for the bishop and being left with a position where nobody can challenge this knight here anymore, positionally it was much stronger to use this knight to exchange itself against that knight, which is the really strong piece in this position. I mean, look at it. This bishop here is actually not so strong because it's blocked in its activity by these 2 pawns. So if you want to exchange this knight against someone, you want to exchange it against this knight and not against this bishop. And that's why, even though this move might look good because the knight moves into a more central position and the rook maybe seems to have a bit more of an open file, it's positionally very bad, and moving the knight to a4 and allowing this exchange, even though you might stop calculating this variation because you see these 2 weak pawns and then one is already attacked by the bishop, etc., etc. This was a much stronger move positionally because it gives more value to these rooks and it gives some initiative to bring in these rooks into play and also actually win back the pawn immediately. Okay, so what can we learn? Rooks gain value by open files, first, and second, don't exchange pieces that are necessary to counter strong pieces of the opponent. Okay, let's have a look at the next position. In this position, black to move. White is attacking this pawn, and so black was considering moving this pawn forward. What's going on in this position, and why might f5 not be such a good idea, and what might be a better idea? Okay, the problem is that after f5, knight f6, king f3, white has bishop c3 attacking the rook, and the only square the rook can go to is f4, and then after bishop e5, black will lose the rook or the exchange. And at this moment the position is close to equal because white has this potential pass pawn and black has this potential pass pawn after these pieces get exchanged, and the position is about equal. And you know, this is kind of a little bit of a long variation to see that this rook will be trapped. You know, it's possible to see that, but I think the rule of thumb here in this position is what's happening here. Black has 4 pawns, white has 5 pawns, and black is an exchange up. So the big resource that black has in this position is this rook. And what is this rook doing at the moment? Not much. It is at the moment having exactly 1 square to go to. And rooks don't like to be boxed in somewhere, rooks like to be active. And so while it is true that white is threatening to take this pawn, the much better move would have been to play rook to d3, activating the rook. Already the rook is creating some threats, and this activity, so if you make this move, you save yourself from losing this pawn, and if you make this move, you are adding some activity to your rook, and both gives you some value, but the value that you get by activating the rook in this position is higher, it's much higher than the value that you get by saving a pawn. So this is something, you know, why you still should why you should still calculate the variation, and also see that after f5 you will lose this rook and the rook gets caged in. The bigger idea is that the rook is already caged in, and because it is caged in, a lot of things are threatened, and so you should focus on moves, candidate moves that help you activate the rook. And after rook d3, yes, the knight can take this pawn, but after king d4, there's no way that white will stop black from winning the pawn on h3, so black is not actually losing the pawn, and then black will have the strong passed pawn and still is the exchange up, and more importantly the rook is now very active, and all of these pawns can be easily attacked by the rook in conjunction with the king. Okay, what can we learn? If you're on exchange up, always think about bringing your rook to an active position first. If you have a number of candidate moves, consider the one that activates your asset in the position, which is your rook. And as we have seen in this position, this can be even more valuable than saving a pawn, especially if you can win a pawn in the next move. Okay, let's have a look at the last position in this video. White to move. What's happening here? White has 6 pawns, black has 7 pawns. So white is a pawn down. And in this position, white is considering taking on c3. So what's the idea behind this move, b takes c3, and why might it not be a good idea? And what might be a better way to play this position? Okay, let's have a look. After b takes c3, black could take the pawn on f6, and actually at this moment white would be relatively fine. White can castle, bishop b7, and white manages to coordinate his pieces to attack the b5 pawn, which is particularly strong because the king has not castled yet. So if queen d5 protecting this pawn, we can even bring in the queen to coordinate, and in this position white will win back the pawn. So maybe that was the idea that white had when considering b takes c3, because actually this idea of ganging up on the weak b5 pawn in conjunction with the king being open is a good plan. But while both for black taking this pawn here and for white taking this pawn here, is an obvious move, in a position like this, it's always a good option to finish your development and have an advantage in development over your opponent and play actively. So if you are pawn down, rather than taking back the pawn, look for compensation in terms of activity. And often this activity will then later allow you to win back this pawn. So let's have a look. After this move, the same goes true in this position for black. So we have seen what happened after knight f6, where black will eventually lose this pawn. Black in this position can also play bishop b7, because whenever this pawn takes, it simply helps black to develop the bishop on a very strong diagonal. So in this position here, black would actually be happy if white would take this pawn. And until white does that, black is in no rush to take this pawn with either the queen or the knight. So for example, after bishop b7, castle, now black can take with the queen. And after bishop e3, black is a solid pawn up and has no disadvantage in development. And white, in addition to that, has a weakness here. So black is better in this position. So instead of taking here, white should consider active moves. And what are active moves here? Let's have a look. Bishop e4 is a strong move, attacking the rook. The rook has to move. If the rook moves to a7, we can use the queen to attack the rook, and the queen is also attacking the pawn. And if now c takes b2, threatening to take the rook, bishop takes, bishop c5, blocking the attack on the rook, queen c3, queen f6, and queen c2, we see that this bishop here is attacked by the queen, and as a result, black has to continue defending this bishop. And this is the function that this knight here performs. So the knight cannot move so easily, because otherwise white would take the bishop. At the same time, the bishop cannot potentially develop this way, because it's blocked by the knight. And if black castled, white could win a pawn here. So the battery of the queen and the bishop is also preventing black from castling at the moment. And so in this position here, if black castles, white can take. So it's already hard for black to find a move. And for example, queen c2 also has the function of attacking the queen. So now, in addition to all of these motives, bringing black's pieces to uncoordinated and inactive squares, black also has to move his queen. So maybe queen h6 is the best move in this position. So that after castle, black castles, now the queen is protecting the h7 square, white suddenly has a much more active position. And I think this position is much better for white than taking back the pawn here. And I think what we can learn from this position, if you are a pawn down, at least consider looking for compensation in terms of activity and not how to win back the pawn as soon as possible. Because again, often this activity will make you win back the pawn more easily. And it will put pressure on your opponent. And often in a situation where you have lost a pawn, the position has a little imbalance. And often losing a pawn means that you have some opportunities in terms of active play. And if this is the case, you should use these opportunities, because otherwise you have just lost the pawn. As we have seen here in this variation, both sides develop. In this position here, there is no opportunity anymore of a disbalance in terms of active play. Black has consolidated after just a few moves, and white is simply a pawn down and worse. Whereas after bishop e4, well, this was a kind of extreme example. White is now 2 pieces down, but has good compensation and attack. Okay, thanks for watching. If you like these videos, be sure to click subscribe so YouTube sends you an update when a new video becomes available.